The Tri-Ni-Sette, 3 sets of 7 artifacts that keeps the world in balance. In this video, we'll talk about these sets of 7, go over their history, and how the ending of the future arc may not be as happy as it seems. The 3 sets that make up the Tri-Ni-Sette are the Mare Rings, the Vongla Rings, and the Arcobaleno Pacifier, but they didn't always look how they do now. Originally, the Tri-Ni-Sette was in the form of 7 stones, which were supported by a species that had existed on Earth long before humans. However, those Earthlings started dying off, until eventually there were only 5 left, and they could no longer support the full power of the Tri-Ni-Sette. So, some of the stones were portioned off and were turned into the Arcobaleno Pacifiers. However, these Earthlings were still dying, until only 2 remained, those being Sapira and Checkerface, also known as Kawahira. They had to rely nearly completely on the human's power to sustain the Tri-Ni-Sette then, leading to the further splitting of the stones into the Mare and Vongla Rings. The Vongla Rings were given to Giotto by Sapira, and the Mare Rings were kept in control by Sapira and the family she founded, the Giglio Nero. And the Arcobaleno Pacifiers were guarded by the Chosen Seven, aka the strongest flame users in the world, the Arcobaleno. At some point, the Sky Mare Ring ends up in the Cervelo's hands, and in a version of the future, gives it to Byakuran as the rightful and chosen beholder of it. In the series, there was also a song made about the Tri-Ni-Sette and their roles and miracles. The song goes as follows. The sea knows no bounds. The clan passes down its form from generation to generation. The rainbow appears from time to time before fading away. And that's it. It's not a very long song. I'm not exactly sure how you would sing it either, but that's how it goes. And this song has been engraved into Uni's mind since birth. And the song talks about the Tri-Ni-Sette owners and their role in the space-time axis. The role, or miracle, of the Vongla Rings is the ability to travel down the vertical space-time axis. It is represented by the name Vongla, which is Italian for clan. And this power allows them to move through generations down the vertical time axis. This means the Vongla traditions can be passed down directly from past to future. An example of this miracle is the Vongla trial, which occurs when the Vongla successor is in a near-death situation. They are given a test of resolve by their predecessors to see if the successor has what it takes to lead the Vongla. And this happened in the anime and manga with Suna. Giotto, the first Vongla boss, explains this by saying that all the boss's hours have been engraved into the ring. The current Vongla boss can also communicate with his predecessors, whose wills have been sealed in the ring. So, pretty much, Suna and his guardians can talk to any of the previous Vongla families at any time with the rings, though it's questionable if they can do it now with their new Vongla gear. But since they're made up with the old Vongla rings, I'm sure they can probably still do it. And this thing would have been a really cool thing to see happen more often. The Mare Rings miracle is the ability to travel horizontally along the space-time axis. It is represented by the name Mare, which is Italian for sea. So this ability to move horizontally along the space-time axis is what's giving its user the ability to see in the parallel worlds. And this allows the user to peer into, gain knowledge, and communicate with themselves from other worlds. And this ability is shown through Byakuran, who used this power to gain the best from each world and create a powerful force to conquer all these worlds. Though, it should be known that he had this ability before he got the Mare Ring. But Uni says this is why the ring chose him as its bearer. The Arcobaleno Pacifier's miracle is the ability to exist as points in space and time. It is represented by the name Arcobaleno, which is Italian for rainbow. The difference between the pacifiers and its Tri-Ni-Sette counterparts is that, unlike the Vongla Mare Rings, which exist as lines in the space-time axis, the pacifiers exist in moments and phases. Thus, the holders of the pacifiers cannot grow or die of old age. It would be fair to say they exist in stasis until the point when they are forcibly removed from their positions as Arcobaleno. So I believe these 2 points, or these points they represent, is them as being, earlier in the, let's say, the timeline, the space, the time portion of it. They're down there, right? Their appearances as babies represents that lower one, but the upper one is space, meaning that even though years have gone by, they still look like babies. So they're kind of still back in that lower one, but they're also in the further onto the timeline. So kind of as 2 points in the way. The Tri-Ni-Sette as a whole also has an ability that makes a sky barrier. The Tri-Ni-Sette sky barrier is an extremely powerful barrier shield made of sky flames, created when all 3 sky elements from the Tri-Ni-Sette resonate with each other. When at least 2 of the Tri-Ni-Sette sky elements release an incredibly high output of flames, the resulting strain causes a sympathetic reaction. Even if one of the elements isn't close to the other 2, the barrier is still formed around that user, and they will begin to float towards where the other 2 elements are located. The first sign that the barrier has been activated is a loud gonging sound, which is then followed by the barrier being formed around each holder of the Tri-Ni-Sette sky element. Even if they're protected by a auto mimic chain ring cover, which pretty much hides the flames from a ring or anything that blocks it like that, anything similar to that, the resonating of the 3 elements will force the protecting cover to be destroyed and continue the summoning of the 3 elements. These individual barriers eventually merge together, creating an extremely powerful barrier that is near impenetrable. Now, during the series and during the battle of Suna and Byakuran, the barrier does start cracking, but that is only after the death of Uni, the holder of the Sky Pacifier. So when one of the holders of the Tri-Ni-Sette dies, then the barrier does become weaker at that point. Some other facts about the Tri-Ni-Sette is that the Mare Rings and the pacifiers lose their color when they are not in the possession of their rightful owners, and the Vongla Rings do not attain their true form unless they are in possession of their rightful owners or heirs as well. Not only is the Tri-Ni-Sette linked to Earth's life, but individually they also seem semi-sentient or connected to life. The Vongla Rings are etched with the past boss's time and can physically affect and change the rings for the bearers it believes to have inherited as well. The Mare Ring, with at least the Sky Mare Ring, it is stated to have chosen Byakuran as its rightful beholder. And the pacifiers are almost like souls, which without flames die along with this Archipelago. Now there is also the Simone Rings, which are not a part of the Tri-Ni-Sette, but while looking this up, the wiki says that they are a physical form of the universe's power, just like the Tri-Ni-Sette, and its power is said to be comparable to the Vongla Rings. And at the end of that, it says citation needed, so I'm pretty sure I've seen its power is comparable to the Vongla Rings. They're supposed to be like almost opposites of it. You can tell that by reading the manga, and then I think it's also said that too, that they're like, the Vongla Rings are like the closest thing to them in power. But I'm not exactly sure where the physical form of the universe's power comes from. I don't remember reading that. I'll go through looking for it, but I'm not exactly sure. If anyone knows where that's from, or if that's like true, if they know, to put that in the comment down below, because I would definitely like to know if that's true or not. But now we get to the problem. And that problem is, as I said at the beginning of the video, is that the future that Suna and his friends went to and saved is actually still screwed. As we learn, the Tri-Ni-Sette was made to maintain the balance and life of the planet. And that's the reason why the Archipelago sacrifice system has been going on for how long it has, because they figured it was the only way to protect the world's life system to keep it going. Now, in the future arc, Checkerface, aka Kawahiro, does show up and help the group, but he later claims that it was only because of the pacifiers and how he chooses not to meddle with the Vongla and Mare Ring. So when he realized Uni was willing to die for him, he decided to leave. But then again, it poses this question of, if it needs all 3 sets to keep the balance of the world, then that means that this future world is still like not in balance. It's not gonna last very long. Earlier in this arc, the future Yamamoto tells us that the future Suna destroyed the Vongla Rings, saying that we smashed them and threw them away a while back. The reason was because the Mafia was fighting over the rings, probably because they didn't believe or trust Suna as guardians to have them. While this is arguably a smart move, because now Byakuran won't be able to get the rings and control the Tri-Ni-Sette, it is also a very dumb move, because by doing this, now the Tri-Ni-Sette is unbalanced, it will not be able to continue supporting the world's life system. So this is pretty much a you can't control the world if we destroy the world kind of play. But to give Suna some slack, you could say that he didn't really know the whole purpose of the Tri-Ni-Sette, so we'll just give him that, even though it's no real proof of it. So, even though the past versions of the 10th generation Vongla brought the Vongla rings with them, which most likely balanced the Tri-Ni-Sette while they were there since the Vongla rings came back. Everything kind of seemed fine for a while, but the moment they left and went back to the past, it became unbalanced again. And I'm sure that this future wasn't rewritten. Even though in the manga we do see Byakuran comes back and he's no longer a bad guy, even helps Suna and fights with him for a moment, and heals Yamamoto too. That didn't change that future. As far as we can tell, pretty sure it didn't change anything. It seems more like a future Dragon Ball Z future Trunks kind of thing, where even though he went back and changed things, it didn't actually change his future because it already happened. I mean, because obviously we know if Byakuran stopped being a bad guy, then it would have changed, but we didn't see that at the end of the anime. And there's also the fact that Uni from the future sent back the memories of everyone who was involved in this future battle to the past, which pretty much kind of causes an earthquake. And this is what leads us to Enma and his guardians getting the Simone rings, which then leads to the destruction and reincarnation of the Vongla rings. Or you could say the Vongla rings were reborn. So obviously, if these things would have happened in the past, but none of these things happened in that future version. So I believe that there are now two timelines. There is the now main current one that the manga continues to go through with the inheritance arc with Enma and everyone else. And then there's the future one where past Suna and friends save the world. And then of course they defeated Byakuran. But there's also the fact that the world is probably going to start going into ruin. But it'll probably take a while, seeing as they said that they destroyed the Vongla rings a while back and the world hasn't ended yet, so it might take a while, but it's gonna happen. That is, unless they can find the destroyed Vongla rings that they said they threw away. But I guess there is some hope for them, right? If they can somehow find the destroyed Vongla rings that they threw out, but then they also have to find Talbot, who is like the blacksmith of the Vongla family, and have him make new versions of the rings using the old destroyed pieces. But this already unlikely plan also relies on the Vongla rings still being alive and having their spirits, which Talbot talked about when the Vongla rings were first destroyed by Enma, that even though they were destroyed, he said they are still alive, he can still see the light in them, which is why he was even able to turn them into the Vongla gear. But seeing as they said they destroyed them a while ago and threw them away, I think it's very unlikely that they're even still gonna work. So yeah, good job, Suna and friends. You saved the world from a tyrannical overlord and left it to be destroyed on its own accord, I guess. So there we go. I've explained the Tri-Ni-Sette, its history, and why the future arc's ending isn't as happy as it first seems. But at least our main timeline's Tri-Ni-Sette will continue to thrive for eternity, even without the sacrifice of new Archibalinos. So, what did you think about the video? Did you learn something new? Do you agree with the whole future world being screwed over? Do you disagree? Leave comments on your thoughts on the video, on the theories, if you have any other theories for the series. Also, on a little side note, I was making a list of videos I might want to do on YouTube pretty much. But for the next video, I was thinking about talking about the power system of Inazuma 11, why I love it and how wacky it is. And it might even go into the series a little bit because I'm kind of stuck between having it being a why you should watch Inazuma 11 or just a video that kind of just, talks about the power system by itself. I might kind of combine the two where it's mostly power system, but then it's kind of just I don't know. We'll see. But so yeah, like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you want to, and thank you for watching. All right, bye.